We have breaking news as the Pittsburgh Penguins have just robbed the Dallas Stars. Kyle Dubas pulls off great asset management. We're going to break down what this player and what this trade means for the Pittsburgh Penguins moving forward as Kyle Dubas looks to continue to upgrade this team heading into next season. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Penguins Digest. But before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 68% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the Pittsburgh Penguins, like trades like this, for example, and everything that's happening through the offseason into next season, go down below, hit that free subscribe button because this is the place to be for all your daily Pittsburgh Penguins content. But Nick, let's get right into it. We got a trade, which is pretty fun on this random Thursday in the offseason. The Pittsburgh Penguins have made a deal with the Dallas Stars. And there was a bit of a delay getting this one done. It was kind of, tweeted out prematurely, I guess, but we were following it along, and it's official at this point. Matt Dumba is a Pittsburgh Penguin, and in return, the Dallas Stars get, and also a second-round pick, I should mention, in 2028. And I want to get into that later in the video because the Penguins have a lot of draft picks. We're going to get into that. But in return, the Dallas Stars get Vladislav Kolyachenick, I believe it's pronounced. So they get him in return. This is actually pretty decent asset management, and I want your thoughts on this because the Penguins land Matt Dumba, which is a bit of a cap dump for the Dallas Stars. We know that they were considering trading Jason Robertson as a cap dump, which is crazy earlier this offseason. But, you get Matt Dumba, you get a second-round pick for a guy you got off waivers earlier this season. Like, that's great asset management, at least in my eyes. So what are you seeing from this trade? Nothing really exciting about Matt Dumba. Let's just put it that way. We'll break it down. But to get a second round pick out of this is actually really good asset management.
No, Darius, for sure. And I think what you're looking at with this trade is taking on cap space.
Yep.
Kyle Dubas weaponizing the cap space the Pittsburgh Penguins have to acquire a second round pick. The Dallas Stars are in a super big cap crunch. I still don't understand why they gave Dumba 2 years on this deal, but it is I guess it's really not their problem anymore. So they get Matt Dumba, really just gonna just play minutes for them. He's not as great as he used to be. We'll dive into maybe that and why in a bit here. If we do look at the stats, of course, he only had one goal last year in 63 games, a far fall off from what he used to be or what we thought he could be at one point in time. Now he's like, I don't even think he played a game for the Dallas Stars in the playoffs, despite their defense being a little weak without players like Miro Heiskanen being injured for a bit there. So, Matt Dumba at this point is more of like a replacement level player for me. He's probably going to play a lot of minutes with the Penguins because they don't have a lot of stuff going on, given that tweet we saw about their defenseman here. Even then, if you, Darius put on the screen there, you see after Letang and Karlsson, there's not a whole lot going on because I know Penguins fans don't really love Ryan Graves and that ludicrous contract he signed. Then you have Dumba, who's a UFA, Clifton, who's a UFA, and I like this trade because, the Penguins are going to be bad. We keep saying on this channel that, the Penguins are the only team really trying to sell at this point and get, trade away their good players. Every team thinks they're good in the offseason, except for the Penguins, apparently. So I really like this trade, and I think the player they gave up in Vlad Kolyachenick, very interesting name. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, of course, but it's really, they basically got a free second round pick from my point of view. So it's a good trade by Dubas. Now what they have to do is make good on that second rounder.
Absolutely, and they have a lot of draft picks, and I want to get to that in a little bit too. But just to touch on Kolyachenick, and again, if we're pronouncing this wrong, do apologize. But 24-year-old left shot defenseman that they picked up off of waivers from Utah in that organization, making league minimum. Didn't do a lot last season. He did actually appear in 12 games for the Pittsburgh Penguins throughout the season. He played quite a chunk actually in the NHL this season. He's a big body on defense there, but doesn't offer too much, especially at the NHL level. Not horrible offensively at the AHL level, but you're not giving up too much, and you get a second rounder for taking on that salary for a guy, like you mentioned, in Matt Dumba, who is a replacement level player. Let's make no mistake about it, at his age and the fact that, he doesn't really score that often anymore, and that's kind of what he was coming into the league. But he's an NHL defenseman, right? He can play NHL minutes, and I think that is not bad. If you look at the last couple of years, he's bounced around teams. The last couple of years, obviously, he spent most of his career with the Minnesota Wild, but, Arizona Coyotes last year, got traded to the Tampa Bay Lightning for their playoff run, only played in 5 games, didn't do anything in those 5 games, was doing mostly cardio in those 5 games, and then obviously went over to the Dallas Stars, and like you mentioned, didn't appear in the playoffs, but did have 10 points for them in 63 games, but just another body that can play at the NHL level. And like you said, if you look at the defense core without Matt Dumba here, like there wasn't much there, right? Especially Kyle Dubas has made some interesting moves with Parker Witherspoon, like depth moves, Connor Clifton, the all Boston Bruins third pairing there. But now with Matt Dumba, it lengthens the lineup a little bit and just adds a little bit more depth. And one thing you wanted to bring up, so I'll give you the floor here too, that Dumba actually underwent surgery and he is expected to miss 3 months. This was a little while ago, so I do wonder if this plays into obviously more than a little while ago, I should specify that, but I do wonder if this plays into kind of his drop off and if there is like any type of resurgence like available for him at this point in his career.
Well, I don't think there's any resurgence available if you look at the history and the statistics. Like, I don't know if you can pull up his career stats that we had up earlier. As you can see in the season where he got injured, in 32 games, I believe he had like 12 goals or something like that. Mm-hmm. And as you can see, that is at 2018-19. And if we look at the article, he had his surgery in 2018, coming off of that ludicrous shooting season. It was expected that he was being like the NHL's next great like defenseman who could really put the puck in the back of the net from the point. He had a lethal shot. But he did have a pectoral surgery, which, might impact the way you shoot the puck a little bit. So adjusting ever since that surgery happened, he has kind of tailed off a lot. As you can see, the production pretty much fell off a cliff in terms of goal scoring, despite playing way more games. Like that 12 goal season was only in 32. Then you had 9 goals, 7 goals, 6 goals in, 60 games, 70 games. So unfortunately for Matt Dumba, I think the player he is what he is. Luckily for him, he's still able to make a decent amount of money off of name value. I don't know if he'll get that on his next contract, but I just wanted to bring that up to say, Matt Dumba, if you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, he's not really going to bring much to the team in terms of, goal scoring or offensive prowess. I think, Darius, you also have the J-Fresh chart available as well.
Yeah, that's right.
As you can see, he said, is a veteran depth defenseman who shoots the puck and plays with a bit of an edge. And what that says to me, he plays with a bit of an edge, means he's just not that great anymore. All his percentiles just really aren't that good. Defense, offense, penalty kill, power play. Unfortunately, he's just a depth defenseman, and that is, kind of what you traded away in Vlad Kolyachuk as well. But you got a free second back. So to me, this is a solid piece of business by Dubas. He took advantage of the Dallas Stars, who, have been figuring so much about with Jason Robertson. They just signed Rantanen. Their defense really isn't that strong. And, a lot of people expected them to come in and be a cup contender for the next few years, but they're in a cap crunch. Dubas takes advantage, something teams that are, I guess, quote unquote, rebuilding can do. And, he makes good out of it. Gets second round pick. Again, like I said earlier in the video, now he just has to draft a good player with that pick. And I think that pick was in 2028. Yep. So still a bit of a way away, but they do have a decent amount of picks coming up for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And we'll see what other trades they do to acquire probably even more draft picks.
Like you said, I mean, it's still a little ways away, and you can see here from all the advanced analytics, not just the J-Fresh chart, but this as well from Rono. Not going to offer, rated a 1 defensively out of 100. So he's not going to offer much, in terms of playing in the NHL. He's a depth defenseman, but like you said, the point of this trade is that you get a 2028 second round draft pick in return for a player that's essentially the same player. So I think it's tidy business by Kyle Dubas here. Don't hate it at all whatsoever. So we'll see, what they continue to do through the summer here. And like I said, they have so much cap space that they can do stuff like this. And I've been saying, weaponize the cap space or the fact that you can take on contracts like this, because at the end of the day, you have all this cap space. You're not going to be too competitive next season, or heading into next season at least. And then you can take on contracts like this and get second round picks. So it makes a lot of sense. And the last thing we'll touch on here is how many draft picks they have over the next couple of years. This is absurd. Next year, if you're looking at 2026, a first rounder. Then they have 3 second rounders, which you don't even have to hang on to if you don't want. You can upgrade to get a first rounder if you want. You have 2 third rounders. Then it kind of dries out a little bit. Then the year after that, 2 second rounders, 3 third rounders, 2 fourth rounders. So you can really get creative here. If you're Kyle Dubas, they have a lot of draft picks that they can end up weaponizing, which I think is good business. And I think this was a solid deal and good asset management by Kyle Dubas and the Pittsburgh Penguins. So we want to hear what you have to say about the trade down there in the comments. Let us know. Matt Dumba, nothing too surprising, nothing too exciting heading into next season. A solid depth defenseman who can play NHL minutes, and you get a second round pick out of it. I think it's tidy business. So let us know how you feel in the comments. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything Pittsburgh Penguins.